Hello, hello, friends. You are listening to the We Rise Together podcast. This is a weekly podcast where 5 women have come together to help you and encourage you to living the best life you could possibly live. We base all of our life on certain areas, and that's what this podcast is about. We hold each other up. We encourage ourselves and others in all the areas of life that need to be loved and taken care of. Areas like your finances and your faith, your family and your friends. We don't leave out fun, and we definitely don't leave out what we do for a living. So I hope you will join us every single week right here on this podcast. If you want to see us live, you can find us on YouTube. If you want to get to know us better and be a part of our community, please go over to Facebook. You can find the link in the description of this video. We have a Facebook group called We Rise Together, and we would love to have you join us in that group. So join us every single week right here, and don't forget, life is better when we rise together. Hey, friends. Welcome back to the We Rise Together podcast. This is episode number 7, and it's called F It. I know that you guys have been waiting for this one. Just F it all, right? Today we're talking about one of the 5 F's. We didn't want to give it away in our last episode, but now we can. We are talking about finances. I am so excited. My name's Kori Cook. If you don't know me, or if you're new here, we have Kari, Joanne, Greta, Krista, and myself. We are so excited to talk to you today about finances and what finances means to us and what finances means to sciences as a whole, or what it means in the 5 F's and how it plays into your life as being one of the major areas that needs to be balanced and healthy. So for me, I know that when my finances are jacked, everything else seems to spiral also, because all that stress comes piling in. Like the stress of, am I going to make it? And especially right now with, I'm going to say it, you guys, the economy, wah, wah. But I'm going to say it because it's true. Inflation's really high right now, and it's an area where a lot of people struggle. And, for me personally, I know that bringing in an extra source of income is extremely important to my family, because not only does it pay for the vitamins and supplements that we talk about on this podcast, and that's not extra money that comes out of my pocket so that I can take care of the health and well-being of my family, but it also provides extra income as well. So for me personally, I know that there's been months that I have literally, the reason that we ate is because I brought extra money into this house. So with financing being that important to us, I think that it's a really good topic to talk about today. What do you guys think?
Yeah. And I think that I'll chip in first, because I'm going to be frankly honest. I suck at finances. So thankfully, that's one of my last F's to work on with the company that we have. So I'm really excited that I get a free financial advisor, because I'm just going to be honest. Like I, have really, really sucked at them. So I'm excited as well to be listening to you guys. Because I just have never really understand the value of the dollar, and just thought that I could, buy what I want. And I feel like part of it is when I was younger, I started working in a bar part-time when I was working as a paramedic for something to do on the side. And so it was just something to entertain my time. And so I got in that bad habit where I'd have extra cash, and, I was young. So, hey, let's go buy the fancy shoes or the fancy, you know what I mean? So for me, I see like I, at a young age, got in trouble with that. And, now like being 42, going to be working with a free financial advisor to, I feel like I've been cleaning up my mess, but to have him help me clean up the mess. I mean, it's just, and one other thing too, is I feel like willing to be open with people and, having a little group that you support. I mean, they don't need all the details, but just, like the community we have where we know F is one of the 5 things in our life. But if that's out, other things are out. And I mean, I can 100% testify to that. So I'm excited to learn other tips because I know some of you are pretty savvy. Like Kari there.
Savvy, but not so savvy with finances. Not as savvy as you'd think. I have learned things though in the last few years with how the world has gone. Number one, if you think the value of your dollar is crappy, you ought to be a Canadian. I think I don't know, what's our dollar at? So there's that. The good news with that though is for us as Q Science ambassadors, not tomorrow, Wednesday, we flip over to the Canadian dollar in Q Sciences for Canada. So that's going to be really good for us because, here's the deal. A dollar is a dollar, whether it's US or Canadian, they just convert it. But where we end up losing with that, I mean, the value is still the same in accordance of the product you're buying. But it's the exchange that we lose because they charge us to exchange it. So that's going to be really good for Canadians. So if you're Canadian, you're listening to this, this is a great time to get on board with Q Sciences in Canada. The market is really expanding through that. With that said, another thing that I've learned in the last few years is, you remember how they used to tell us all the time, if you use your credit card, you earn points and you can air miles and all of the crap. And you know what, you guys, in my interesting point of view, is that's just not true. You know what? If you're not paying that credit card off every single month for every dollar that you spent on it, you're no longer paying small interest. You're paying up to 22% interest on that money. That's insanity. And I can tell you, because I'm someone who maxed out 3 credit cards and am working right now to pay them off. I try not to use them anymore, but they're still I'm talking, they were at $70,000 worth of credit card debt and I'm down to 40. So it's still, or maybe a little bit less, but I mean, big amounts. And it just happened like that, right? It was, the economy started to go, and you're used to, as Canadians, especially in the oil and gas industry, we were rolling, right? Our economy was good in Canada, and at that time I think a little better than the US. So as Canadians, we spent a little more than we probably should have, and we didn't save as much as we should have. So pretty soon, you're still buying the things, but you can't make that payment like you did before. And it didn't take long, you guys. Credit card debt was like that. So that's been something that I've been diligent to do, is to pay that off. But now, Krista, you mentioned the FFM, which is our financial freedom movement. They're going to help you do that. So you can actually, and that's the other thing it's going to open up for Canadians with Q Sciences, is we're actually, once we hit elite, we're going to get that extra $100. And as you rank up, you're going to get even more. I think it's up to $400 a month to put up upon any debt you want, whether it's your mortgage or your credit card. So,
what I find really interesting about that, really quick, is the FFM program. So I'm in the FFM program, right? And the one thing that my husband and I have done right, we haven't always done everything right, but one thing that we have done right is that we don't have a lot of debt. We don't. To be completely honest, I have my house payment, and that's it. That's my point, right? So, and some medical bills here and there, but you're never going to get away from medical bills. I'm talking long-term debt. We just don't have it. Yeah. We've never. Our thing more than anything is that we don't really have credit, right? We have a house and we paid off a truck, but like we don't have rolling credit cards and things like that. So the thing for me that was the biggest obstacle into straightening out my finances and figuring out where I was the mindset around looking at all of it and where you're at. I was afraid. I was always afraid to actually look at where we were at. And to me, it was like I literally would grab the bills and I would grab a notepad and I would grab all this stuff and I would want to sit down and go through it, and I would start and then I would stop because I would be like, this is too much for me. My mind is just overloaded. I'm not good with numbers. It's not a part of something that is a strength for me. So I was always afraid to look at it. And I think that a lot of people fall in that category. And what I really, really loved about the FFM program here is that number one, it's free as an ambassador, which is really great, right? But number two is that they don't judge you for where you are. They do not go, man, you really screwed your shit up. They don't do that. They just help you with the mindset portion of figuring out what you need to do to get that F on track, to get that financial F balanced. And I know for me, because I've experienced it, I know for me, it was such a huge weight lifted off my shoulders that I did not have to do this by myself. I wasn't the only one looking at this. It was a very factual, like, okay, his biggest thing for me was you need to bring in more money. And I was like, that really? That's it? And he's like, yeah, you just need more income in your house and you're going to be just fine. And I was like, okay, well, I'm already a member of Q Sciences, so now I just need to get to work, right? But that, I think that mindset for people is like, they bury themselves and then they don't want to look at it because they're afraid to look at it. And then they think if they don't ever look at it, it's not going to come back and bite them like the nasty snake that it is, right?
And on the other end of that, Kori, one of the most amazing feelings in the world for me is paying my bills. When they're paid, I go like, oh, it's such a great feeling. The other thing I and Greta and I have had this conversation recently is if you try not to call it debt, but instead call it past expenditures, it's just the energy of the word. It's that conscious language again. It's still there. It doesn't make it go away, but it does bring a different energy to it. So always think of your debt, your credit card debt, especially your any kind of debt, as a past expenditure, because really that's what it was. It's money you've spent in the past that you need to pay. Debt just brings a really negative tone to it. So yeah, I'm excited to hit Elite and get that extra $100 a month to finish paying off my credit card past expenditures, right?
That's really nice. That helped pay off the truck. When we paid off the truck, that $100 with that was really nice. And that does feel good. And you're absolutely right. It does feel good to be straightened out and to know what you have to pay, when you have to pay it, and know that it's getting paid.
Yeah.
And I'll just piggyback off of what you said, Kori, about not being able to or wanting to look at things. I mean, just over the last, let's say 3 years, really, people got themselves into a lot of, and I can only speak for where I live in Alberta. So, I mean, it was a very rich province, right? We, like Kori said, or Kari said, that we were used to spending here and there just because it was available. But a lot of people were put in a position where, things changed in the last 3 years. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people had to, look for other income streams, right? It adds to the jobs that they were already doing. And it's still very hard for a lot of people to really put that into perspective, right? Once you're used to one way of living, it's so hard to think that now you have to budget, now you have to do certain things. And really, and that just speaks to a lot of the young people out there right? They kind of live carelessly and, carefree or whatever. And it's okay to do that for a bit. But I mean, my kids are young adults, right? And I don't want them to make the same mistake. So I'm always saying, like, put 10% aside for you. Rest should go into, savings, because they don't have families of their own. They don't really need for anything other than car insurance and gas, really. This is their time to save. And I know when I was young, I mean, I wasn't into savings, but we ended up buying our house when I was 21. 20. I was 20 when we bought our first house. That really put a lot of responsibility on us, right? That kind of pushed us into, that's equity, right? You pushed us into savings and you had responsibility. But now I look at my kids and I'm like, wow, you guys should have at least enough in the bank for a down payment, right? And I mean, things have changed, like I said. But bringing those habits earlier on and really hooking onto that earlier on just saves you a little grief in later on, right? So I mean, people are missing their bills by $100, $200, right? And it's a scary thing when you're not used to that.
Yeah, they don't miss them by thousands, they miss them by hundreds, right?
No, exactly. I mean, I know from my own experience how hard it is to pay down past expenditures. Right. And yeah, it piles up really quickly. You don't realize how quick. I mean, we've talked about, I know in We Rise, in our Facebook group, we've talked about the snowball effect and how to pay down debt with that, right? Just over the last few years, I've learned a lot about how to really, be careful with money. That doesn't mean I listen to it, but it's always there, right?
Take care of it. You've learned how to take care of it instead of be frivolous. I was reading an article about kids that if they started to save $100 a month at the age of 25, if they would just put away $100 a month, they would be millionaires by the time they're my age. And in something that compounds interest in some investments. And I thought, you know what, if I would have done that at 25 years old, I would be sitting so pretty right now. But I was so worried about playing and running around and not making the right choices that
they made us think that, Kori. They keep telling, that's the narrative. Go have fun while you're young. I'm sorry, that's crap. You need to work while you're young, while you can, because when you're older, you're tired. You're not tired, but you know what I mean? Who wants to go work for 12 hours a day? When I was 25, I could work 16 hours a day, never bat an eye, and get up, sleep for 5 hours. You know what? Go to the bar, visit my friends, and still go to work. I wouldn't do that now. So that's a narrative that they've pushed on us that, have fun when you're young. No way. Work your butt off when you're young, save your money, do what you need to do, get what you want in life. And then when you're in your 50s, you can sit back a bit and say, hey, you know what? We were taught all wrong. I'm trying to tell my kids differently. And you know what, Kori, you mentioned that 25 and sticking the money away. I can't remember the exact figures to that, but I know that it's substantially less if you don't start till you're 35. I don't even think it gets to 500,000.
It doesn't. It's like 200 and something thousand dollars. It's not very much at all. Right? Yeah. And we instilled that in our kids too, work when you're young. Like my son's 19 years old. He's going to be a lineman at 20. And it's like, they make a lot of money. And I'm like, you need to pack that stuff away. You need to pack it away. You need to invest properly and you're going to be golden, kid. Like you are going to be golden. And, I want to bring something up really, really quickly because you are absolutely right. When you guys said that people are missing their bills by $100 or $200 a month. And I've been there. I have been in the position of, do I pay the power bill or do I eat? Like we've been there. I had 4 kids at 20 years old. I had kids at a very young age, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I didn't have this wonderful opportunity at my fingertips then. That's a lie. I had the opportunity. I didn't know what the heck I was doing to make the money, right? So I just want to throw out there that direct sales to me is such an amazing opportunity for people to make that $100 or $200 a month. It really is. And with a company like ours that gives you the opportunity and keeps giving us more opportunities to make money, they keep giving us more opportunities. They keep putting ranks in between ranks and bonuses and upping the bonuses and making it easier with customer volume and team volume and all these different ways to make this extra income. It really does just leave it up to us to do the work in order to make the money, right? The self-development, the skills, learning the tools and the skills, because the opportunity is here right now. And they've increased our compensation plan, which was awesome already, 3 more ways at this past convention that we just got done with. And I want to point out for people that are missing their bills by $100 or $200 a month that think, I don't have the money to get started in this. I mean, if you think that you don't have the money to get started in this, you don't have the money to not get started in this, to be completely honest, because we have the tools and the training from corporate. We have a supportive team, and we have the way to be able to help people make the money if they're willing to do the work that it takes to do it. And I think that that's where a lot of people get hung up, is they would rather sit in the struggle than pour a couple $100 into starting a business that can change everything. And I'm just going to call that out. I really am. I'm just going to call it out, because I used to be one of those people. And my mindset took a flip, and I literally talked to my husband the other day, and I said, I think I'm going to go get a second job. And he said, if you're willing to get a second job and work 4 hours a day extra after your already full-time job and have a family and work on the weekends, then why aren't you willing to do Q for 2 hours a day to make that money that you were making before? And I'm calling myself out too, right? So we have the opportunity to bring more income into people's lives and help their finances, increase, and help their finances balance out and not miss those bills by $100 or $200 a month.
I think a lot of people think about network marketing and they don't think it's a real business, right? And that's the difference. I mean, for me, I've been in other companies and kind of treated it as a hobby, but owning a actual brick and mortar business, let me tell you the investment you have to make, right? I've owned another type of business, probably 20 some years ago. 20 years ago. My son's 22, so he was almost 2 when I first bought my business. I put $120,000 at that time into my business, and I lost over $160,000 in the end because we had to close it down. That's a big investment. That is a major investment when you're looking at starting a business in social selling, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, for $200 versus $120, and then come out $160,000 in the hole, right? We ran our business for almost 2 years, realized that it's not going to go anywhere. It was a very long story. If anybody wants to know more, they can contact me. But it's not that we didn't try. It was just wrong time, wrong place. And that's the risk of doing business, right? We've heard a lot of people this weekend say how much they've invested into their businesses. We own a brick and mortar business right now. I know how much money goes into that business. when you're looking at an overall investment of owning a business, $200 is a drop in a bucket that you can make back in literally less than a week.
Well, and not only that, something to consider, it's $200 to start this. And I've had people say, no, don't want to get involved in network marketing, don't want to get involved in that kind of thing. And if you guys want to talk more about that and find out more, contact us. We'll talk to you about it. But those same people will not even put a second thought into clicking a link when a celebrity has buy my shoes, buy my makeup, buy my hair dye, buy my clothes, buy my this, buy my that. They don't think twice about
and that's exactly what they're doing. They're doing exactly the same
and they're doing exactly the same thing. And they're giving their money to somebody who doesn't even believe in the product, most likely. Whereas most of the time when you find somebody in a network marketing business, it's because they believe in that product. Like, you know, all of us, we believe in the supplements, we believe in the new cleaners that have come out, we believe in all of the healthy aspect of it. It's exactly the same thing. And if you want to have a discussion, like I just said, and find out why we think that way or how we've come to that, reach out to us and we'll talk to you. But yeah, I've seen it so many times. I've had people say, nope, nothing, don't want anything to do with it. And next thing you know, they're posting, usually it's a TikTok or an Instagram post or an Instagram story that says, look what I bought.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of those pyramid schemes? It's gotta be it's like, what? Pyramid schemes are illegal. Do I look like I would do illegal business?
Well, and if you want to go down
Right?
down there, let's look at Walmart and see what their structure looks like.
It's exactly the same. All businesses, and don't even get me started on the world corporations, because it's all like that, right? There's somebody at the top of everything. This business is, and here's the deal, you guys. I have done a whole pile of multi-level marketing companies. I think this is my 5th or 6th in my lifetime. And I have never, and I'm not saying bashing any of the other ones. Some of them had great products and I've met some wonderful people through them. To be really quite honest, I probably wouldn't know you guys if it wasn't for the last company I was with. But none of them they don't have the training and the personal development and the partnership. We never had the partnership with those last businesses. This, in my interesting point of view, again, this is second to none in direct sales, this company. And right now it's a #1 health and wellness company in the world. I mean, that says something right there.
Well, and I learned something this past weekend that I kind of knew it, but they put the numbers to it. Right now, 70% of the payouts to ambassadors go to the lower ranks. Their goal is to make that 80%. They don't want to be paying the big money makers. And believe me, after this weekend, we learned that there are some really amazing, big money makers. So if you want to put the work in, the ability or the opportunity is there. But if you want to be the one just making $250, $100, $1,700 a month, those are the ones that they want to focus on to make sure to get the money into the hands of the people. Because like Kari and Kori both said, and Greta, you only miss your bills by a couple $100. And that makes a huge difference in somebody's life. Like if you take a second and think about what would an extra $200 every single month, if you were guaranteed that $200 every single month, how would that change your life?
I'm going to tell you right now from personal experience that $750 a month is elite payout. Well, I don't think it's $750 anymore, isn't it? Isn't it more now? Something.
Yeah, it got increased. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
Elite Plus would be
Elite
more.
Plus. So there's a little bump in pay there, but that money literally has saved my family from starving to death. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it has literally saved us a time or two since I'm almost been with this company almost 2 years, and it has literally saved me and my family. And thinking about what an extra $500 or $200, like Joanne said, does for your family with all these different ways to get paid. You don't want to build a team, fine. You want to focus on customers, great. There's amazing payouts and bonuses there too. The fact of the matter is that, I feel like we're trying to sell you something right now, and maybe we are, but this is a company that's changed 5 people's lives, and not one of us are making the big dollars. You're hearing from people that are on the lower levels. You're hearing from people that bust their butt every day to do the business. You're hearing from people that support their teams and do the work to make that 250, 750, 150, every single day. So it really does change things. And with throwing in a free financial advisor, you literally can change your financial future just by joining Q Sciences, not to mention the health benefits.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's what I was just going to say, Kori. That money that I have made, because since I've started, I've made anywhere from $250 to $750 a month, not including the bonuses when you hit those first ranks. What that has done is it has allowed me to have the best supplements I've ever taken, not draining my bank account to take them, and my health has improved. I can't tell you how much my health has improved, right? And I know that
same here,
right?
Kari, like not only like health as far as inside our bodies, but everything, like like all the 5 F's that we're going to talk about, our family, my family life, Greta's fitness life, even me for a fitness life now, the friends that we've all made, faith, working on the faith, and finance. So there's just everything. I just feel like everything encompassed in one can just really change your life if you're willing to take a couple steps to put some positive action forward.
Absolutely.
And as we found out this weekend, this is just the beginning. They have so much planned for us. I'm so excited for what we have coming and where we are going and where we can help others go with us.
what do we have planned for next week?
We are going to talk about winter burnout.
Oh,
Because it's kind of that time of the year, and I know you guys are in the northern states and we're in Canada, and it's a thing. It's a thing. I think probably even people in the southern states or all over the world get this. Winter is winter. It doesn't matter where you are. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to give you some tips and tricks and just things that you can do to kind of help and get past that, into the spring, it's coming, guys. Spring's coming. So yeah, that'll be episode 8 next week. Well, the week after. I always get confused because we record and then we post and all the things. So episode 8, winter burnout. That's what we're doing next. So, and with that, I guess, are we ready to wrap it up, girls? Okay. So we will see you next time on the We Rise Together podcast. And remember, we rise together. Well, that's a wrap for this episode. We are so grateful you joined us as we discuss our experiences on our life's paths. Our vision, no matter where you are in your life path, is to add value to your life by sharing ours. You can find more incredible resources in our We Rise Together Facebook group. We'll leave the link posted in the show notes at the bottom. And until next time, we appreciate you, and remember, we rise together.